Whether you are eating the carnivore lifestyle or you just enjoy a good chuck roast, this is going to be the ultimate. We're going to be doing this chuck roast in the sous vide method tonight with a little bit of a searing method at the very end. But this is a great piece of meat. It has a lot of marbling to it. I think you can see that. Got a lot of thickness. However, chuck roasts are not known for being the most tender cuts of beef. They are known for having a lot of good beefy flavor. But we're going to take care of that tenderness problem. What a lot of people do is they put it into a slow cooker and or like crock pot, and it's going to cook for maybe 5-6 hours. Our method is going to take a little bit longer, but if you're planning ahead, should be no problem. This is actually going to go into the sous vide at 132 degrees. We're going to do that for about 24 hours. If you go a little bit over that, that's fine. It'll become even more tender. But I think we're going to be getting a great blend of flavor as well as tenderness. So join me. First thing we need to do is season this, let this temper for a little while. Then we're going to be coming back shortly, bagging it up, sucking all the air out of the bag, putting it into the sous vide, and coming back tomorrow. First step, I've got some kosher salt. We're going to salt that up. Now, I'm not putting any other seasonings on at this time other than the kosher salt. There's a good reason for that. If you put other seasonings on and you put it into the sous vide bag and you're cooking it and the moisture is coming out, but it's staying there right next to the meat, you're going to be actually kind of washing a lot of that seasoning away. So if you want anything other than salt on your beef, it might be better to just hold off on that until after you pull it out of the sous vide equipment. Notice I've got one hand that touches the beef, the other hand used for seasoning. They don't cross-contaminate each other. Get that on the sides here, get that rubbed in. Get that well coated everywhere. Then we're just going to let it sit for a while. You might let it sit for 30 minutes, an hour, couple hours. Sometimes you might just stick it in the fridge and let it sit overnight. I'm not going to take that long. I'm just going to let it sit for, oh no, we'll see, an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then before I take my wife out for the evening, I'm going to put it into the sous vide and we're going to be set until about this time tomorrow. So be back in just a moment. Okay, the chuck roast has been tempering for about the last hour and a half to 2 hours, and you'll notice that a lot of moisture has risen to the surface. Now, we want to get rid of that moisture before we put it into the bag for sous vide. So I've got a paper towel, and we're going to be patting that down. Now, a lot of that salt has still seeped into the meat for the flavor. I'm going to be sticking that into a freezer bag, and you want to make sure it's a freezer bag because freezer bags should be BPA, PFAS free. Going to take a little bit of butter, stick that in there with it. Safe to lose the gloves now. We're going to seal the bag up most of the way, except for just a little bit at the end. And we're going to be sticking that into the water and forcing all the air out of the bag. And we're driving it up toward that one little corner that is still open. Once we have all the air out of the bag, we're going to be closing up that corner. And that is what we are left with. A bag that is essentially pretty sealed up. Going to put that back in. Put our sous vide equipment in. I'm going to set the temperature for, I'm going to say 132 degrees because I think that's going to be the perfect internal temperature for it when it's done. Now we still have to sear it when it's totally done. Go get that started. And this is going to be sitting for about 24 hours. So I'm going to put a lid on here because there's probably going to be a little bit of evaporation occurring, and I want to trap a lot of that moisture inside that container. Is it necessary to put that on? No, it just means you're probably going to have to check it a little bit more periodically to make sure that you've got plenty of water in there. You probably are going to have to add water to this over a 24-hour period, but now it's just kind of a set and forget practically sort of deal, and we're going to come back about this time tomorrow. So I will set this off to the side. We'll see you then. Okay, this is day 2, and we are getting ready to put the sear on this. I've just taken it out of the sous vide bath. I've pulled it out of the bag. Now we need to make sure to pat it down, get that as dry as possible so that it's going to accept a very good sear. And that's looking pretty darn good there. That's what it's looking like. Now I'm about to take this outside and we're going to do a little blowtorch action and get the perfect sear on this. Now, if you don't happen to have a blowtorch, you can do this on your stovetop. You could even crank up the oven, say to 500 degrees, slip it in there for maybe 5 minutes or so. But my favorite choice is the blowtorch. If you're a wife watching this, you know, the time I'm doing this, it's close to Christmas. I think maybe your husband needs a blowtorch. I've got links to blowtorches down below, and it's just the ultimate man toy when you're in the kitchen. So let's take this bad boy outside and we'll see what we can do. Come join me. Time to get this thing taken care of. We're gonna do about 60 seconds per side. We got it. Let's take it inside, see what we've got. Okay, this is looking really good. It is time to cut into this and just see what we've got. That's looking pretty darn good. Let me slice off a little hunk here. Gunner's gonna want a piece of this, I'll tell you what. Gunner, come here. Come on. Gunner's liking it. It's gotta be good. That's very tasty. That's got a lot of flavor to it. It's done just about right for me. Now, if you want yours done a little bit more, just do a little bit higher temperature while it's sous vide. I had mine at 132. You might like yours 135, 140. If you want it even more well done, you're fine, Gunner. 145 maybe. Give him just a little bit more to keep him happy. But this will be an ultimate meal for a carnivore. Throw on some veggies, maybe a potato, and this would be a great meal for the non-carnivore members in your family. This is just gonna be an awesome meal, I'll tell you what. It is taking a long time, but this is worth it. So if you liked the video, give me a like down below. Maybe consider a subscription. Please, please, please leave us some comments, and I will catch y'all the next time. Bye-bye.